The two men walked at a healthy but innocuous pace. The German Democratic Republic's newly appointed cultural attaché to Laos, Maier Rendel, strode purposefully ahead, a harried expression on his face. He was the younger, though hardly the fitter of the two, and sweated profusely in his polyester suit. No one would have called him handsome, not even from across the river and the free world. Rendel needed to lose weight both in body and mind. For now it was the mind that was in the process of unburdening itself. "I tell you, it's serious. Thought it better we meet on the street than in my office, where half the world's likely to listen in, especially our friends, the Viets." The second man, broad-shouldered and in his early 50s, his blond hair cropped short, cautiously brought up the rear. He had just arrived in town and wore an innocuous, short-sleeved white shirt with gray slacks, black shoes, no tie. He kept his eyes locked to the ground and took care not to look directly at passers-by. He walked the way a predator might move through dense jungle, purposefully, quietly and acutely aware of everything around him. Elegant in a way it was hard to put a finger on. A casual onlooker might have assumed him to be a rather superfluous character, a slightly ruffled subordinate of the more dynamic man up front. A very careful observer would have noted that this man achieved near invisibility without a great deal of effort. "She asked for me specifically?" Rendel nodded. "Asked for your code name. She said Weltmeister, loud and clear. Was a bit of a shock. I mean, no one knows that name. Mentioned Long Cheng as well. And gold. American gold. Lots of American gold." Rendel's eyes flashed greedily. The older man ignored the attaché's predilection for vice and profiteering and carefully scanned both sides of the potholed river road ahead of them. Everything looked as it always did. The courtyard of Lane Zhang, the riverside's best hotel, lay deserted but for the usual half-dozen party limos that parked there for the weekend, their drivers lounging under a rickety wooden stand to the left of the building, plucking hair from their chins with steel tweezers, and playing cards. It was Saturday evening, and the country's decision-makers were most likely lying half-dead in their suites, nursing their foreign liquor hangovers, fawned over by taxi girls, exhausted from celebrating the revolution the night before, or getting ready to do it all over again. Unlimited supplies of Russian vodka, local sex slaves, and an entrenched feudal mindset that was immune to both the benefits and strictures of communism could do terrible things to a government, even one that had partaken in beating the world's mightiest superpower. Prior to the revolution, the same drivers had sat in the same spot, waiting for their American employers to emerge from the same kind of weekend carnage. The traffic was light. A group of female students dressed in white blouses and dark sarongs cycled past and threatened to distract the attaché from the clandestine nature of his walk. But the passing girls didn't manage to stop Maier Rendel grinning with all the severity of a man who'd spent his entire life steadfastly refusing to develop a sense of humor. "Must have practiced pronouncing it. It rolled right off her tongue. Wouldn't tell me anything else. Good-looking little number, too. Pale skin, Chinese features, nice tits, bad teeth. Savage, basically. She calls herself Mona. And she said the magic word. Weltmeister." The older man shook his head and hung back as if trying to distance himself from his old friend who reveled in the loss of his moral compass. But it was just a reaction on his side to hearing his code name spoken by someone else, for the first time in decades. "A Hmong girl, perhaps, but hardly anyone knows my code name. A few Viets, maybe, and they'd never blab. Even at our embassy here, no one knows. The past is the past." His cover had been blown. Someone was on to him.